Okay, you guys, we're live. I'm doing this on Facebook, but it's people don't understand why they can't fix behavior problems, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what. Oh God. Well, hopefully I'm not on Wi-Fi. Anyway, Brian, if you're there, I'm making this video for you. Just instead of doing it inside, this dog wanted to go out. So I think what people don't. If I said, well, I want this dog to stop chasing squirrels, that's a behavior problem. Not for the dog, it isn't. You know, what you have to understand is what we deem behavior problems, that's not a problem for them, you know. So the reality of it is what happens is people say, and this is what you're saying, I want it to stop doing this behavior now. But what you're doing is just adding the nick to the sequence. You're not, you're actually going to make it worse by doing that. And if you said, okay, well, what is it from a scientific viewpoint? How do we analyze the behavior that way? And the way you guys have to do it is you have to go way out and look at the great big picture. If you said, what's the first thing? One, if we've taught it to go in circles, if we have any behavior, if we've ever done anything where we've said spin in a circle and you're going to get rewarded, stop doing that. I tell people all the time, don't teach them because they naturally do that. And that's what you have to understand. Dogs will naturally spin in a circle like that. This dog is just taking it to the next level. You know, so now if you said, well, what do you mean the circling is augmented? Yes. The circling is augmented. So anything we do occurring is potentially going to make it bigger. So if you said, well, what do we need to do? It is a problem. So, you know, if we look at a behavior problem, if you say, I have a problem, you don't say, well, stop the problem. That's not the solution. So you've got to say, okay, big picture, there's got to be other places this dog is spinning in a circle. You know, so whatever those are, let's make observations of that. The second thing is you need to rush right in there. You got to get your platform, and you've got to start adding some new behaviors that this dog didn't have yesterday. If you said, well, flying onto the platform, deliver anything that it didn't have before, add a new behavior. And if you said, why, we can't just remove the behavior of the dog chasing its tail and say, it's not like with people where you can just say, stop smoking, and they just stop. You know, if you said smoking's a behavior problem, so the solution is to stop smoking. Well, just as soon as they get a cigarette, we'll smack it out of their hand. The problem is they start sneaking around and smoking. If you said, I probably smoked in high school, who knows? It was awful. So you've got to go back, and if you said, what do we have to do? We have to see everything. So you already know the stopping and talking is going to lead to this behavior. So we've got to go back, and honestly, for now, if you said, if you had that problem, what would you do? For now, until I could get a fix on it, I wouldn't let the situation where it was going to happen. And the other thing I would do is understand that bending has a lot to do with e-collar training, and I don't, you know, they probably don't talk about that on the chat boards and stuff, Brian, but what you've got now is a dog whose momentum is just going in a circle. My solution for that would be smooth this all out. Get this momentum somewhere else. This is a dog telling me I've got a lot to go. If you give me something to do, I've got all that energy I can do something else with, not just stop and then sit there. It's like telling these little kids just to sit down. It works for about a second, then they start getting up again. Whereas, you know, like those little mini skins, when they came out there, sitting down and staying out of the mud and all these things wasn't an option. So I took the other thing and said, oh, run around the track out there, which they did twice. So it's the same thing. Just saying stop isn't going to work. The dog does not view it as a problem. This is what I want you to write down, Brian. The dog, what you view as a behavior problem, the dog views as a behavior solution. So his solution to you stopping and talking, and if you said, well, what's happening? The dog is just kind of getting loaded up, boom, 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 boom. And it will, I've seen it a lot. I've seen dogs, Brian, that had to have their tail amputated. These things were in such a battle with their own tail. And so if you said, what do we have to do from the scientist's viewpoint? We have to be able to bend the dog the other way. If you said, when it's going in a circle, its body is totally bent. If you looked at it from above, its body is totally bent. So honestly, we have to be able to bend it the other way. That's why I said it's not an easy fix. So that's what you need to do. This is your solution. You start today, getting your platform, adding, I mean, you're just all over this new behavior. Boom, boom, boom. God, your success level with this new behavior is unreal. Unreal. You can't get, if you said border collies don't fly, yeah, they do, if you give them a platform. The other thing I want you to work on, and what you need to do, Brian, is go through your whole little obedience routine and be ready for me to tell you to change stuff. If you're brave enough to do that, I don't blame people for not wanting to hear it, but if you're brave enough to do that, you can change things and this dog can get better. If you said, what else would you do as a fix? If that dog came here right now and you started training it, I can tell you what I wouldn't do is wait till it was spinning and hit it with the nick at all. I'd be doing a whole bunch of pager work, getting all its momentum in a straight line, because they don't normally go in a straight line. They do. You see this thing going this way, going that way. And then I would start really refining my heel so that you could do the behavior, and I'll upload that one of that border collie where you can spin the dog this way. Because if you said when it's chasing its tail, it's spinning this way. And if you said it's not going to be easy to condition it to turn this way, because of that, I say, yes, it probably isn't going to be that easy. But that's the fix. So you either have to live with it or you have to do all these things I say. And it is. I've got a lot of solutions. What people need to understand is what we consider a behavior problem in a dog is what a dog considers a behavior solution. They have a problem. This is their solution. And it's like Parker. I was thinking about that this morning, Mandy. There can't be anybody else getting on the floor with this dog. I'm thinking how that just, God, how much damage that did to everything we've done. Because a full-grown man can't not get on the floor with a dog. If you said how big of a set, it's probably an awful effing setback. You know, so now it thinks when it sees some stranger, who knows, they may get down on the floor. You know, what can I do to get them down on the floor so that I can bowl them over like a bowling pin? He said, is that the only? No, it's not, but it's. And if you said, what is his solution? I'm understanding that this dog's solution to anybody or anything he doesn't know is a lot of fast movement. Anyway, so my behavior, the Doberman's solution to his predilection for squirrels is to just keep patrolling around. Me saying don't chase squirrels isn't going to work. Me say move around with me is going to be more successful. You know, me saying don't do that. Do you think if that dog is way over there and there's a squirrel over there, it's going to say, oh, I'm not supposed to do that? No. But if you said, well, what do you mean? If it started to go towards a squirrel, you could hijack its impulse. Yes, I've learned that's the best we can tell. But I've got some good hopes for Parker, but boy, it was just making me so mad thinking about anybody getting down on the, I actually made this video, it's been years ago, it was called Don't Tug, Tossle, and Wrestle, That Ruins Them. That was the title of the video, That Ruins Them. And if you said it isn't possible to damage people or animals in this world with behavior and them never get over it. Yes, it is. It happens every effing day. You know, it's ridiculous. So, I'm not going to say anything to this dog. But his solution, if you said given his choice, if there was 20 squirrels out here, would he go get, oh yeah, he'd go get every one of them. If you said if 20 squirrels congregated right there in the driveway, he would go get all of them. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know why he wouldn't. So you've got to get this dog to the point, Brian, that this thing is so good on this platform that's now more in the forefront of the dog's mind, that you're triggering these impulses. And I do. I like to use my training collars. And this dog, if you said this dog doesn't look at your hand, he doesn't wiggle. No, he is trained. He's trained. And I think people need to write that down. What we consider a behavior problem, the dog considers a behavior solution. So his solution to getting frustrated is going around in a circle. You saying stop being frustrated isn't going to work. You need to get a platform, and for the next at minimum a week, don't put this dog in a situation where that behavior is going to occur. Because if you said, well, if you go get a bunch of squirrels in a cage and start correcting this dog, he won't do it anymore. No, he'll think to himself, as soon as this chick's not around, boy, I'm get me some squirrels. That's what he's going to think. So, you know, you can't do anything. And the other thing, you've got to speed up your recall. You've got to double the speed. If you said the dog can't run fast, oh yeah, it can. It can run a lot faster. So those are all the things you're going to have to do. Brian's like, oh my God, I want to just do one thing. But that's what it is. Once this behavior is occurring, your job is really honestly just to observe it, figure out what happened, what led up to it, avoid that happening for now, and inundate this dog with a new successful behavior. So later you can kind of merge the two. But you've got to be able to get this dog all that momentum. If you said you mean I could get all that energy that it's using spinning around and sticking on my leg, yeah, you can do that. And then I could dance it around like a party pony. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to post that one video of Hershey. I love that. Because those are very, if you said all dogs have the same reaction time, no, they don't. No, they don't. Collie dogs, pit bulls, those kind of have faster reaction time. If you said they don't have faster reaction time than a Mastiff, yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. If you said they don't have faster reaction time than a Lab, they do. They do. And if you said why, a lot of lab training involves, well, I guess herding dogs to patience, but they are breeding a certain, if you said that's why they're not like a Malinois, yeah, that's why they're not like a Malinois. When people say, oh, field dogs are so hyper, not that I've seen, they're scary intellectual. They're scary intellectual. I've never seen dogs that smart anywhere. And if you said, well, that's just selective breeding. Right, let me work him around a little. So I can get all his energy at my disposal. But I've got to be able to bend. I got to be able to bend the dog that way. I've got to be able to get him on the platform. I want you to stop using words and start using your pager. Because if you said, well, that's my best friend, and we don't have any non-spoken vernacular, every best friend I have, there's about 27 different looks you can give them, and they know exactly what's up. Am I wrong? And people, you know, that you don't, just online or whatever, there's usually one word. Doomed. All right, so let me get him sitting. You know, but I'm not saying, if you said, get him on there and say, don't chase the squirrels, that's not what I'm doing. If you said, why? If you tell him to stop doing something, whatever you're telling him to stop doing is just damming up. And by damming up, I mean, you know, like a water in a dam. So now it's building up, building up, building, and then you said, what? Oh, it breaks. The dam breaks. If you said when, oh, I'll tell you exactly when, right when you don't want it to. I'm saying to this dog, give me everything you got in this inner concentric circle right next to me. Because what he's doing is he's right next to you, and if you said, well, I'm going to draw a line around you. You said this. This is how you need to think of it. If I put my arms out and go like that, that's the inner area which I'm operating the dog. If you said, well, that should be where you have the most finesse. There should be the most finesse in this area. So if you've got all this spinning and everything going around over here, it really shows a lack of finesse by the handler. So you've got to get that. If you said, what would you do if this dog started, I could throw it back into heel. I can bend him that way, but I can bend him this way. I can make him that. Go this way. So, anyway, that's what you're looking at. You're getting, me trying to say, I would have already given up trying to get this thing to stop chasing squirrels. That's all he does. It's his hobby. I can't kill off the dog's hobby. All right, but I can, if you said, well, take all the energy he's got and make this thing the squirrel. Oh, I can. He does it himself. I had a little movement right there. I'm adding movement. You've got to get this platform right. It's going to change everything. It's going to completely change your training. And, if you get out there and this dog is sitting there, it's ready to do something. You're starting off on the right note. And Mark just posted that thing. Mark is very frustrated. I understand his level of frustration about people not understanding the level of consciousness these things have and why correction's really not going to work. If the dog views it as a solution, not a problem, you're just adding something else to the dog's solution that it's now going to have to circumvent this nick somehow. So pause temporarily and then go at it, gung-ho again. So now you're just adding that to the sequence. It stops and goes. It doesn't stop and knock up. He's got a flying return to heel, but I've got to get the right. I know I say never do that, but if you said, well, it was a reflex. You said, what did I say? It looked like I was kind of like pushing his chest. Get that, Mike. That'll be my new cover photo. That's what it was like. Boy, he had levity. And you said, what did he do? Boy, he tiggered right into the air. Oh, that wasn't it. I can bend him. That's what it is. I can bend him. I can bend him this way. Go back. Oh, shit. See, I better watch out. I'll have me a spinner. That's a normal behavior for dogs. That's what I want you to understand. I say all the time, I see these people teaching the dog as one of their little tricks to go in a circle, and I say, don't do that. It's a normal behavior in dogs. If you said, how do you know? Oh, every time I try to walk out here with them, there's about 2 or 3 of them in front of me spinning around in circles. And if you say, do you say, yay, good dog? No. I say, move. I just have something in my hands. That's what I say. Oh my God, please move. If you say, said, did they move? Not really. Not really. If you said, did they stop doing it? Not really. It doesn't seem to be getting any worse. I'm not rewarding it, but it's a normal finding in dogs. You know, just in some more than others. But that's what you've got to think of. You've got to straighten out your momentum. You've got to get this platform. And you've got to be able to let this dog know. Let me tell you what, I'm going to gun it. I'm going to hit this gas pedal, and I'm going to need you to gun it. Not stop. All right, one more time. You say, well, you're just giving the illusion of movement by going through. Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you said you're steady working this dog. Yeah, I am steady working the dog. I'm not going to just stand there and go give it to me. I'm giving the illusion that I'm going to, yeah.